Alvaro coming in, looking for the auto. He dredge lines the wall, but he can still get the auto down on Oscar. He can't because of that steadfast presence.
Hey, well played to Oscar, you know. He did well.
Follow.
Go. Look on the side,
I can follow there more. Well played, boys.
Look on Kai'Sa. Look Cassante, he can't go.
I can stun this. Slowly.
I can stun Cassante, okay? I stun him. Look.
Yeah, I kill him. Don't give it.
I can take it from Ashe.
Nice!
Fnatic evens up the series and do it in quite a similar fashion as MDK did it in game 1. I love from Alvaro there the praise still fun. Okay, Oscar. Yeah, you did that very, very well. Well, you know what you're in for if you give him his poppy, I would say. But it really felt a little bit, Broxah, like a mirror of game 1, right? In terms of Fnatic catching MDK out the same way that they got cut out in game 1.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? It's almost like MDK looked at Fnatic's plays and decided to copy it, even though Fnatic actually lost the first game. And we saw a lot of aggression, a lot of overextensions, and more than anything, it kind of seemed like MDK got slightly ahead of themselves and, you know, just went overconfident, really.
Especially in this play, because it starts off with Alvaro just getting caught because he thinks that he has number advantage, and Fnatic's capitalizing well because the adaptation that they have right now, they have the Poppy, they have Maokai Leona, they have a lot more frontline to work with and a lot more catch potential. And right now, after this play where Humanoid cleans up and Noah gets a lot of gold and top tier 1 is just over. Here it's a great catch from Elyoya. I don't really know how he sneaked into this brush. But again, this is just the general trend of MDK. They find some good plays, but right now, after this, they're just overreaching. They already used a lot of juice, a lot of ults to catch someone, and now trying to catch a tank that, you know, Razork played it amazingly well. But after this, the game is just over when you lose Nash.
Yeah, it's kind of a shame, really, because in both of these scenarios, MDK could easily just have gotten control of the map. In this case, instead of diving in after killing Humanoid, you could push out mid, push out top, get full Baron vision, and really have that map control that can lead to a bigger play.
Yeah, and I think Fnatic did phenomenal, right? And also catching them out. A part of me is thinking, because, well, MDK selected red side, is thinking they really wanted that red side. And so they were like, you know what, game 2, you can have it. Let's move over because we want to show you what we really got.
Big brain.
Probably not.
I liked it because even though, you know, Fnatic lost game 1, it was looking good until it wasn't looking good anymore, and I felt like they had a lot of control, but they were just like a little bit overzealous in what they could do. But I guess there's always, you know, some madness to every genius like that. When you have a lot of tools to catch someone, you're kind of stepping out of place.
I love that. Madness to every genius, right? You got to be a little crazy to try the crazy stuff, indeed. No, the intelligent stuff. Intelligence, try the crazy stuff. Anyways, let's talk about the ADCs as well. I think it's so interesting, these two, Supa versus Noah. Supa had a tremendous game in game 1. Noah had a tremendous game in game 2, but I feel like they're often the lightning rods for their teams when they aren't doing well and when they are doing well, both from like the community as well as in game, you know. And it's kind of interesting that for me, they have mirrored each other's performances in game 1 and 2.
Well, it's a shift because in game 1 we had June and Noah, where he opted to play the Jhin and be a little bit more utility based, and Supa was enabled to play the MF, which has been a power pick in here in the LEC playoffs. And in game 2, Fnatic did a great job at banning out the MF and forcing something that's a little bit more scaling and giving Noah more power with the Ezreal, which has been a signature pick for him. So it's more so. The team identities have been changing between game 1 and 2 with what role the ADC wants to employ in that specific game. And right now, I think it's back to the drawing board and looking to empower Supa a little bit more for game 3.
You think that's the way to go?
Yeah, I think that's really what it's all about. We've seen it time and time again here in the LEC that any of these two guys getting an advantage will be able to lead their team to the finish line and carry these games when you know, push comes to shove. And I think the Misfortune ban was definitely key, and now MDK are going to have to dig a little deeper and showcase to us that Supa can also hard carry in the same way on other champions.
They want to. I know they want to dig deep. Otherwise, why would they move over to the red side? I'm so excited. If this doesn't deliver, I will be so disappointed.
MDK has been getting a lot of red side wins because I think right now the average, the red side win in the LEC playoffs, season finals.
Season finals, yeah.
Has been around 30%.
Lots of playoffs.
Yeah, it's been 20 to 30%, so red side is losing a lot, but MDK is one of our only teams, if not the only team, who's getting a lot of consistent red side wins. So I think this is their powerhouse. This is the way they've been winning against G2. They need these sort of flavor picks, like these sort of power picks, and I think it makes a lot of sense to move over to the red side.
I got baited. It was just the current draft that was up, but we're going into the actual one right now, so not that baited. It was a great It was a great setup. I'm expecting 5 games if I look at this, but there is a part of me that's thinking if, you know, MDK now goes for a little bit more unconventional picks and really shows what they want and Fnatic beats them, then we could be looking at a 3-1. What's the feeling here in terms of, have we really derived the actual strength of these two teams yet, or have we just seen kind of a game that was well played out from either side in each game?
I think we've seen the good and bad of both, really.
Yeah.
MDK definitely proved to us in the G2 series that they're going to be able to not only play under pressure, but also adapt throughout the series. And Fnatic, we know, can live up to the expectations and perform under the pressure as well. So now I think it really comes down to the coaching staff being able to quickly look at the first 2 games and find out where the real issues were in terms of draft. And even when it comes to draft, it wasn't flawless, but yeah, let's see what can be done. I think the in-game stuff, the over-aggression is where we really need to see a difference.
Especially with Fnatic, because I think the adaptations they have made going into Game 2 with opting into this more of a traditional front-to-back was great. But right now, as I said, Mad Lions is looking to bring out the crazy, and I think that when the game was as chaotic as it was in Game 1 with, you know, this, you didn't have this traditional front-to-back team come from both sides, that's when MDK shines a lot more. And this is what I expect to see from MDK going into this Game 3.
Yep, they did ban out the Corki, so they don't have to worry about that. So maybe they will be looking to make sure Noah gets the pick that he wants.
This Renekton ban makes a lot of sense because it is one of the premier blind picks for top lane, and we see it a lot in LCK and LPR where it gets picked very early, and it does very well into these marksmen that that Myrwn has been enjoying a lot. So for me, it makes a lot of sense, and I really like this MF first pick, even though the Ashe is open. Right now, you are trading OP ADCs, and right now, it goes again into what we said earlier when we were talking about the ADs. Both of them are on power picks that have a lot of agency into the early game, and they want to, you know, take over the game.
Yeah, and I also like, I mean, the Maokai, it always gets more and more important throughout these best of 5s. We saw it, you know, if you want to pull off those ganks, the range advantage that you have, the way that you can catch them off guard, I think is so much value, but the Ivern is great as well.
Yeah, I think ultimately the Renekton ban was really smart from the MDK area of the draft. They would ban the Ashe first, but they changed it up, leaving MF open to get the good trade, get a priority carry, get a strong jungler. And of course, right here, we're seeing relatively similar team comps from both teams with strong AD carries. We have a lot of CC, really good team fighting all around as well.
I would say that the draft, everything that's been happening so far, it is quite balanced. I am a big fan of the Rell, but also I'm an even bigger fan of the Ivern, because I feel like Ivern in the league is an exceptional pick. It gives you so much agency going to the mid-late game. I do like this. Actually, I don't really like this Rumble, this Rumble ban, because I feel like when you have this sort of enchanted jungler and Leona, I don't feel like you have enough reliable support for the Rumble to functionally to operate very well into these later skirmishes. So I think it might be a little bit waste of a ban, but at the same time, it is one of the only good blind picks in the game. I might expect here even a... What else is there that is good blind pick on top? Because you would be really happy with enemy with Fnatic picking K'Sante here. Well, K'Sante is
yeah,
banned.
but the red carpet is laid out for that top lane matchup and the counter pick.
Exactly, because now you get into this scenario where you're when you're Oscar and you're like, what do you blind pick here? I'm kind of not happy here. There's nothing really good to blind, so he is forced here to dig very deep and maybe go something a little bit unconventional with the cannon, even though it doesn't really work well with the Ivern and
Dumb
opens
question,
up.
his Poppy would not be good here?
Blind pick? It opens up a lot of crazy picks from Myrwn. I don't really think it's so good. Opens up Vladimir, opens up Gwen. There's a lot. It is one of the riskiest picks that I think you can blind pick on top. But if there's one man who can do it, it is Oscar. Because when I look at Oscar, one of his signature picks and one of his best picks is the Poppy.
Just needed to ask the question for you know,
for the storyline. For
the people who don't play top like me.
Oh,
you know.
Learned a lot.
Yeah, so much. Don't blind pick Poppy if you're not Oscar.
Yeah, exactly. That's my point.
I really like the adaptations we're seeing from Fnatic here. They see Ashe, they see Maokai, they instantly lock in Ivern. Now, with Rell and Tristana being locked in, we're seeing the Taliyah. And in short, they have a lot of champions who are so strong into the hard engage coming out of Mad Lions. And whenever they jump at you, you have MF ult, you have all the heals, the shields from Ivern, you have Taliyah's disengage. It's going to be incredibly hard for MDK to actually play that team comp.
The Gnar, Odo! Yay! Your favorite champion ever.
It is my most played champion, I think, all time, but I really don't like it because when I look at this sort of combo-based teamfight comp from Fnatic, when you have Leona, Taliyah, you kind of want someone who can keep everything together and keep everything a little bit more static. Gnar doesn't really do that. He's more about finding this opportunity and operating off the setup of other champions. I think even Odoamne would have been good, even though it plays into Myrwn's favorite champion.
They hoodwinked us all.
It makes sense because right now, if you look at my line, Koi team fight comp, you have Maokai, Rell, amazing setup, Ashe to follow up, everything well. And right now, the Nidalee is one of those champions where it's like, hey Myrwn, you can do whatever you want. The team comp is already fixed. Everything is set in stone. Just have fun. Pick something that will dominate this Gnar because Gnar is an extremely weak early game pick, and he can take over the game because he has so many tools to work with.
And they did win a game with Nidalee against Irelia, and now he's getting it in a much easier matchup versus Gnar.
It's an extremely easy matchup this one. I'm really not a fan of what Fnatic did with their 4-5. I really think they should have just taken a bad matchup and give more power to the Taliyah, because if you offer this Taliyah, you need more setup from your teammates, or just don't go for the Taliyah.
I love how passionate you are about how they completely overcooked their draft. They threw it away.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the theory of too many useless champions right now.
I see.
And Gnar, Taliyah together, they are too useless. They need to hold hands and be friends, but it didn't happen, sadly.
Yeah, the two useless picks in that. That's the words from Odoamne. Maybe as useless as a Goldberg who lost the best stuff in Smash to Medic. Medic, what do you think?
Look, we can't all be Smash geniuses. Mikkel was very angry at the fact that he lost the best of 3 versus me. But yeah, I'm not going to talk about my Smash ascent to godhood. me and Sonic Fox going to be playing up against each other soon.
Wow,
I'm really looking forward to the new Smash.
I played for a week, by the way. Anyway, let's get into Summoner's Rift. Much more important than my Smash capades. That's a good one. Myrwn is playing Nidalee top again, and it has only been played once before in 2024 by Myrwn against G2 a couple of weeks ago.
In the mic check, Elyoya said we are never playing Nidalee top again.
And I think that was a wise choice.
And so, you know, and so I didn't do any prep, Medic, and now look at me, the fool. Yeah.
In the mic check that we played at the top of the show.
I mean, to be fair, they did release it on our social channels.
Yes. Oh, true. So you prepped by watching it on the Twitter.
Yes.
All right, cool.
Medic, it was a joke. That's what that was.
It was a good one.
It
was great.
Always ruining my fun.
I just appreciate that Myrwn wants to be the shy. That just resonates with me as a person.
Whoa. He does not die enough to compare to the shy.
Yet. There is always time. He is learning. He's a young Padawan in the League of Legends scene.
Speaking of the shy, do you know who the last person to play Nidalee
the
top?
answer away, didn't you, mate?
Well, it would be funny if it wasn't. Last person to play Nidalee top apart from Myrwn?
Was it the shy?
It was the shy last 2023 LPL Spring. Before that, it was 2015 in LCK Champions.
That surprises me.
From Someday. According to GamesOfLegends.gg, with their major region filter on.
All right, well, I don't have the capacity to fact check that, so I'm just going to assume you're true. We look at bot lane. Supa on Ashe is a very powerful champion. Just because this champion kind of gets to do whatever it wants, and there's not much you get to do in response. Volley is an incredibly oppressive skill at level 1. And so Noah and Jun will be forced to play defensively as keep my eyes on Razork. See what his early game plan is. Leona MF is a great lane for gank setups because of the early CC.
Also just disgusting if you ever go underneath the tower, because it's, hey, I'm going to throw out solar.
Oscar.
Oh, Oscarinin, hang on.
Oscar.
The grass?
Oscar. Oh my god! Myrwn gets it!
Oh my goodness.
Best main character in the top lane, Oscar goes to Myrwn.
Level 2, he just solo killed him.
Alvaro has to flash away in the bot lane.
If that's not an example of what does this jump even do? I don't know what it, like, that was...
He doesn't do anything, Betty. He doesn't do it. Didn't he just kill you?
This jump doesn't do anything. Oh my goodness. Myrwn off to a great start in the top lane. And Oscar thinking that he's going to go with the Gnar, safe top laner, level 1. But now, Razork set his sights on the bot lane.
And Earth here as well. Crash down from Alvaro. TP in by Myrwn as they look to turn this play around. Razork's on his way into the fight. Jun falls first though. Alvaro gets the kill. Super able to walk away. Razork going in. Flash forward from Noah. It's going to be disaster for Fnatic. They flashed for the kill. They lose 2 so far. Will it be more? Fresskowy's trying to join the battle. So is Humanoid trying to escort the Ivern away. The jump forward. Razork has a bomb on his back and a cat there as well. Fresskowy gets on the board.
A massive overforce from Fnatic in the bot lane. after realizing, I mean, they got all the summoners and they still committed to the play. The Myrwn TP, I mean, we'll see if it works out for him, because while he does end up getting another kill and an assist, that's a lot of farm that's being lost on the top side. But the initial play was great.
Yeah, this is great. You get the disengage from Alvaro, Supa pops the cleanse to try and get away, and the TP comes through. But to your point, Benny, like, watch where the wave is on the top side. It hasn't been pushed in, so as this entire play is going on, Noah flashes forward, Myrwn's able to get the kill, then he's only just kind of getting more and more, and even with the chase down, still that wave in top isn't shoved, and they get the kill onto Razork as well. So I think you've maybe lost 3 CS as Myrwn for this play. Like, you can see it's not a massive difference in the CS numbers on that top end, and he just gets a massive goal lead for himself, mid lane, and helped out his bot lane. That's a big L checkmark for MDK.
I mean, Fnatic may not have been able to see the TP was actually happening because they weren't maybe in range of the tower, but in any case, like, the moment that they got all the summoners out, that should have been the, okay, you know what, we'll take that, that's a good trade for us, and then reset. But by overcommitting to the play, they got heavily punished for it, and yeah, I do think that gap in top, though, given that stacked wave, is a little bigger than we expect. But in terms of experience, I think that Myrwn is in a fine spot. Fnatic, though, turn their attention to bot lane once again.
They're bait short, and that could be big here. Supa doesn't have the flash. He'll be hit with the root caller. Alvaro should be able to walk away from this. His AD carry's life will go down. Fnatic find that repeat gank in the bot side.
And this is more what we expected from Fnatic. Razork having a strong impact in the early stages, continuously ganking onto this bottom side and making it very difficult now for Supa to really get any sort of push. And if the MF is able to get these early leads, it's very simple to try and control that space in the bottom side. But Myrwn being an absolute pain against Oscarinin now.
Elyoya has flash to his advance. He could just jump across the wall. Oscar is getting up to that Mega Gnar, and I think MDK think the wiser of that decision. Myrwn will be able to force Oscar about half HP, but obviously as you go into Mega, you can heal some of that up. Gromp secured by Elyoya. Razork loses his top side camp.
So, you know, one of the big talking points that Dagda and I just had was about this top lane. How much XP do you lose? What about the farm? Myrwn walks underneath the tower and says, well, I'm going to deny you as much as you denied me. So the CS is still in the favor of Myrwn. He's able to get another recall off. He's now secured himself the Sheen. The matchup that was already tough is now going to only get worse as Fnatic continue to invest their resources towards the bot side of the map. They will spot out Razork on these Krugs, so he's going to look to go back to base. But I think that it's wise for Fnatic to continually attack this bot side. Leona MF is such an effective bot lane 2v2 to set up for jungle ganks. When you pair that with the single target CC that comes out from Razork, I think that it just becomes an easy avenue of attack for Fnatic to build another game with.
Especially because I think Alvaro roaming could be the death of Fnatic's entire early game plan. If you can try and play towards Humanoid in the mid lane, you burn an early summoner, it gets very easy for Elyoya to set up with the ultimate across, a Supa to ult in towards mid. Humanoid with no flash is so vulnerable in this mid lane, and by attacking bot side, you kind of alleviate some of that pressure because the support can no longer roam to try and have any sort of impact in that room.
Razork's going to start up these grubs. Humanoid comes across to help him out. Should be easy enough secure, even with Razork not having Daisy to help him out. Might just be one, could be two. Make sure that MDK can't really stack them up. We'll have to take this and all three of the second wave to get those mites spawning.
The only problem that I'm kind of looking at for MDK is just they are, well, they're very, very AD focused. Like, Myrwn is not going an AP build. You're seeing the Locus come through for Elyoya, so you're actually not going to have a huge amount of that AD damage and AP damage, and Oscarinin already with the boots. I think you're going to get a lot of value by going for this tankier route for Oscarinin in that top lane, and it could be a major factor when you get to those later portions of the game, especially for people like Jun. And yes, he will struggle without the Merc threads, but I'm curious how quickly they can actually take Oscarinin down in the later portions.
Myrwn's looking for the dive here. Nature's Grass coming out. Oscar tries to jump, knocked back. The root caller won't call anyone, but the trigger seed will keep Oscarinin alive. Flash away, Myrwn tries to dash back in. Not tanking the tower yet. Fresskowy here to join the battle. Daisy chasing Myrwn down, and we'll just knock him up as he manages to get in the bush. But a time came out, just looking for the engage there. Doesn't have the solar flare yet. Now they're going to go for the re-engage. Flash, shield of Daybreak, and Supa Cleanse splashes away, but not in time to save the day. Noah gets his second.
Quicker cleanse from Noah was immediately able to follow up then, and Supa just wasn't quite fast enough on the stun. Thought he had a bit more time, and Fnatic now starting to get their own back in this game.
I mean, We're seeing in this series why MF is just so highly prioritized, not just in the LEC, but around the world. She's such an effective duelist in the early game. Her ability to follow up on engaged supports is incredibly potent. And Leona just gives you that setup so consistently. It's so difficult for MDK to really leverage the strengths of Ashe in the early game, and this MF is very quickly going to get out of control.
Fresskowy's going to jump on towards Humanoid. Be knocked away with the seismic shove, knocked towards the tower. In fact, Root Caller follows him, but no one really wants to go any further in that lane. Humanoid about half HP, about a quarter mana. Should still be able to clear out this wave.
He even has Jun there just sitting behind him to make sure they can shove that out and get the reset for himself. Mountain Dragon is still up and available. I'm surprised we haven't seen any sort of attention down towards that bottom side. I expected Elyoya to try and look for that trade, although you saw him kind of look for the contestant of the Void Grubs, but I do think you're in a position, if you're able as MDK, to look for some sort of play around Supa in that bottom side, and with that ultimate now available and the cleanse down for Noah, they could try and find that answer back against Fnatic, who've slowly been starting to get control of this game.
Just spending some time there with Humanoid to make sure the wave gets shoved up. Humanoid doesn't have the TP up right now, so doesn't want to lose time under his turret, especially with Fresskowy being on the Tristana. She takes towers so quickly, or at least plates in the early game. But because of that, MDK know they have the time to take the Drake. As you say, Rob, hadn't been prioritized till this point, but at the 10-minute mark, MDK will take the first dragon of the game.
Bot lane just going to back away. No, there is a potential engage could come through from Elyoya. This is a sizable wave though, so I wasn't sure if Elyoya wanted to stick around. Fresskowy also had push in the mid lane, so they maybe could have looked for, again, that play with the Supa ultimate into follow-up from the rest of the team, but just going to back away. Razork in position now to make sure that they're able to keep control over this bottom side and maybe put some pressure onto Elyoya, but with the wave cleared, I think that'd be a bit risky.
The risk as well is Humanoid's moving across from the mid lane, and that Weaver's wall, all it needs to do is separate one player from the rest of the team for them to be very isolated. Noah starts to open up on the turret, will be his third plate of the game. With Humanoid showing in mid, Supa and Alvaro think they can be a little greedier. Seismic Shove misses here, as does the Unraveled Earth, and you can't miss those, Humanoid.
Bit of a misplay there from Humanoid, and Fresskowy, knowing the limitations of his champion, is able to find a solo kill with the blade completed. And now a 2-0-0 Tristana. MDK are showcasing that they have some threats of their own. Razork needs to be careful.
Doesn't have Daisy here either. Does have the flash, has the Root Caller as well. He has the flash early, but Fresskowy's on the chase. Fresquito with 2 quick kills back to back.
What in the hell in Fresskowy? He is going absolutely nuts at the moment. Humanoid and Razork are not safe wherever the big MDK mid laner goes.
I mean, Fresskowy is working hard for MDK, securing now 3-0-0, half the team's kills, 2 of them with which he's able to get by himself. How are Fnatic going to be able to deal with this? We kind of look at the composition. Fnatic are going to be very reliant on finding some huge fights as we enter the mid game to be able to win out. But like, MDK are building this very nice split push threat with both Myrwn and Fresskowy being able to play through sides. Fnatic won't really have any responses to it. So as long as MDK don't get bored into the MF wombo combo team fight, they have very clear avenues to take control of Game 3.
MDK starting the grubs a little bit early here. Fresskowy's only just making it to the mid lane tier 2, and you can see Supa only just recalled and is now working his way out of the base. And because of that early start, Fnatic immediately pounce. Will take a grub of their own. They need one more for those mites to spawn. Alvaro, good dodge on the seismic shove. Supa's on his way across, has that enchanted crystal arrow, and Fnatic respects it back away. 2 grubs left. Fnatic seem more willing just to stop MDK from getting to 4 grubs rather than trying to get those 4 grubs themselves.
Fresskowy had a ton of pressure in the mid lane, being able to shove in that wave, so always a bit nervous of this 3-kill Tristana coming across and being able to push them back, but MDK able to secure it. Will find 3 for 3. And it looks like everyone's just going to rotate back in towards their standard lanes.
But it kind of plays back into what Vedi was just talking about with the split push threat, right? If you have those mites, your split push becomes even more powerful. Remember, every Void Grub you get gives you that little bit more true damage to the turret as well. So by Fnatic sneaking in, getting 1 grub away, they've stopped a little bit of the power that Fresskowy can have in a side.
Small win for sure. Speaking of small wins, MDK will take away these camps on the bot side of the map. Fresskowy ticking over to level 11.
It's a solar flare. Myrwn should have flashed that. Zenith Blade's going to follow him up. He then flashes the wall away from the seismic shove. So does end up using the summoner. Alvaro goes in with the crash down, but I don't really think he's going to get much off Oscarinin, who does still have a flash of his own.
It's being zoned from the tower, though. These objectives are being traded across the map. Naturally, Humanoid's going to be slower at the siege compared to the Tristana, who's just going to melt through this tower. And there's nothing really that Oscar can do about it. Of course, the good news is that Myrwn can't really do anything else on the other side of the map. But because this bot tower is going to fall faster, it means that the resets are going to come sooner, and Fresskowy is going to be able to reset back out onto the map ready for the dragon spawning in a minute's time.
Fnatic are trying to send a lot of members down to the spot lane to protect the tower, though, which has kind of opened up a push in mid as well. So I'm curious now if MDK look for the quicker reset to go out towards Rift Herald and try and use that tempo advantage in their favor here. But the slow reset, because Jun was able to kind of just push MDK back a little bit there, means that Fnatic should be in a decent spot here to try and right their waves and then still be in a position to correct that, or sorry, contest that objective on the top side.
Fresskowy should be sitting on a decent amount of gold. Just because, yeah, he's sitting on 1,500 gold right now. He'd love to get a base off, spend that money before the dragon starts, but as you rightly said, I think he's spent a little bit too much time. Fnatic in a better position. Maybe MDK just prioritize the cross map, set their sights on trying to secure this top tower instead. Noah with the push in mid makes it harder for Supa to walk up, but Elyoya does, of course, have his E to be able to face check these brushes.
Fnatic, though, Noah, very powerful right now. Has that Bloodthirster complete. Flash, twisted advance. They go into Oscarinin. The bullet time comes across the wall as Supa opens up. Noah has to cleanse away from the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Now Jun has to flash the wall. Alvaro going in with the Magnet Storm. Oscar trying to get to the Mega Gnar, but it's just short of it. Myrwn will fall, and both the top laners have been traded as Razork's being chased down by MDK. Ivern, King of the Jungle, able to escape for the moment. Daisy doing a little bit of work here as well, as MDK aren't done with the fight yet.
Supa was in a great position to stop the ultimate from Noah, but now the follow-up.
Alvaro, Hex flashes forward, pulled back, Dennis playing it in, tries to land the Shattering Strike, but Alvaro falls first, and it's the top laners, then the support's almost traded. A buster shot breaks Jun out of certain death, escapes with the goodwill of Fresskowy.
The shielding, the utility, the defenses that this Leona has were too much for MDK to break through, meaning that in the trade of supports, it was Fnatic that found another pick, but nothing really comes off the back of it. Farm still needs to be caught, these sideways need to be addressed, and Elyoya sets his sights on Humanoid.
Had a really small window there, but you can see Razork and Jun already on their way out. It was a couple of seconds at most that they would have been able to dive onto Humanoid. Now he backs away to the support of his team.
Now looking back at that fight, I will say Noah's ultimate was a little premature. I feel like he didn't get a lot of value out of it, and it's really important that he does for Fnatic in these upcoming fights, because when we look at the gold distribution, Fresskowy in that last fight hadn't spent any of the gold. Now he picks up the Zeal. Now he's going to spend that gold, so coming back into the fray, he's going to be much stronger than he was. While Noah also picked up a BF for himself, he is where a lot of the gold is sitting on for Fnatic, so it's crucial that his impact is felt as we get closer to these big fights.
And his ultimate's just about to come back off cooldown as MDK looking to start up this dragon. Fnatic not fully in a position to try and contest this at the moment. Waiting to see.
No
you
TP
can try
from
and force
Myrwn.
your way in, but yeah, as you say, you've got Oscarinin who has teleport advantage here, but Gnar is about to come through.
Yeah, he's half health as well. Just went over to the Mega. It looks like MDK will back away. Fnatic pushed through mid and then got control over the river. MDK don't really have a pressure point right now. Fresskowy's trying to sort that out by pushing out bot, but doesn't have the time. Fnatic will take their first Drake of the game. And once again, basically on as even in this match. Charlie Crystallara going wide. Elyoya can't quite get in range in time.
Still though, the praise for MDK in game one was their patience and waiting for Fnatic to overextend. This time I think it's MDK trying to bite off more than they can chew too quickly in this game. It's kind of come back to bite them a couple of times, especially here. Like, they could have had Myrwn already push top, rotate Fresskowy up, match the TP play against Oscarinin if you really wanted to, take a slower position and try and force Noah back underneath this tower, so you can't just easily contest as Fnatic. But they're giving these moments for Fnatic to actually come into a fight, buy space in river, make Supa disjointed from the rest of the team, and Fnatic are punishing these impatient plays from MDK well.
Well, I will say, gentlemen, I'm quite happy that we've got a bit of a closer affair. Not that the early game hasn't been close so far in this series, but there's been a lot of back and forth, a lot of trading, a little bit more messiness, which I think
can be more fun to watch.
It certainly is. Now, neither team has a clear advantage. We've already illustrated that Myrwn and Fresskowy are kind of the strong points. There's that Navori Flicker Blade also secured for Fresskowy, giving him a huge power spike, both in the side lanes and in the team fights. Noah, though, with the Essence Reaver, will only continue to demonstrate how much power this MF has in the fights. The crucial thing about MF, as we saw in Game 1, though, is her ability to guarantee the mid-push. This gives Fnatic easier access into the river, which makes it easier then to set up for these side lanes. You can already see Jun on the bot side of the map getting some deep vision around that side of the area, while MDK turn their attention to the top side. And it's interesting as right now Fnatic have the ability to trade and sort of cross-map, but as we get later into the game, MDK's side lane threat is going to be that much stronger, kind of forcing Fnatic to split apart.
Oh, and just grass. Oscarinin dashes away. The redemption coming out as well will heal him up, but it's not enough and not quick enough for Oscar to survive. The solo player hits Myrwn though, and he can be tanky, but he's not tanky enough to get out of here. Bullet time rips through the wave, as Fnatic will make a 1-for-1 trade.
And now Fnatic are going to be the ones that are threatening the tier 2 and bot. As long as Fnatic continue to chase MDK out, they can guarantee that push, but actually going to reset with Humanoid there. But I was going to say, the fact that MDK never went for Rift Herald either is bizarre. It just despawned, or is about to despawn on the map, and I think that's why you end up getting Oscarinin caught, because he assumed you were going to have the fallback from MDK to get that Rift Herald just before it despawned.
And I feel like the Rift Herald it's the safer play of the two, right? You don't need to dive a tier 2. Fnatic can respond quickly. They have defender's advantage in that position. If you go for the Rift Herald, you're likely going to guarantee that tower in a moment anyway. Fnatic trying to get around here. It's only Daisy, Jun, and Razork, and I don't think they have the damage to really upset Elyoya.
And especially when you're trying to play a split push comp like this, I think it's nigh on impossible now for MDK to try and break mid-turret. Noah, as Vedius has already been saying, just continually controls that mid-push thanks to the strength of MF and also the fact he got that early lead. And now you're in a position where if you can't control mid, you can't control sides, and you'll have Fnatic just continuously have to force at these big objectives and make things very uncomfortable.
Look at bot lane. Myrwn shadowing Fresskowy, something that we've seen before with the idea of split pushing, of just trying to catch your opponent in a 2 versus 1.
Oscar relatively safe though, always has the jump away and the flash on the Gnar, and he's got backup. Razork and Jun waiting in the wings to make sure that tiny Yordle isn't going to be sent to the morgue anytime soon.
I do think the double act like solo laner trap isn't quite in position for MDK to work though. The dragon in a minute's time means that now you have to reset to get your lanes pushed out. Fnatic never feel threatened to actually have to push up past river because they control their mid lane turret well enough, and all they have to do is just bounce these waves continuously. So I think for MDK, you have to try and get the side waves pushed in and collapse on mid, and hope that Elyoya again can kind of look for this play with the ultimate across this area, and may look for it right now.
Reaver's wall will separate Myrwn from the team. Jun going in, knocked back with the Bramble Smash. Daisy joining the party. Fresskowy down towards the bottom side, will be back by Oscarinin, who doesn't have the Mega Gnar. Bullet time from Noah could be a possibility here as Oscarinin has to flash away. There's a bullet time, Elyoya flashes as well. Jun still looking for the chase, and he's damn tanky with the Eclipse. Root Caller hits onto Alvaro, knocked back with the seismic shove. Jun still tanking for days, the Trigger Seed keeping him alive. Another Root Caller goes in, and MDK just don't have the damage to work through Fnatic.
And it's what we talked about earlier. You're almost entirely AD on the MDK side, so the tankiness of this Gnar, having just picked up the Warden's Mail, is coming through. The fact that you're not able to get through these shields from Razork, Jun having a ton of that inbuilt durability, there's just not enough to get through Fnatic health bars.
I mean, Noah is the captain of this ship, and MDK are doing their best to usurp that commander, but his crew is keeping him steadfast. He stays strong, he barely moves, the life still coming through from the Bloodthirst, along with the utility of this Ivern. It was just monstrous. So much was thrown at him, but he barely had to do anything. He still has his flash after all of that was committed towards him as well. Now again, we turn our attention back to the split pushing threat. A tower is secured in favor of Fresskowy. Ooh, Oscar, the Trinity Force, along with the Warden's Mail, doing him some good there.
The upside, Fnatic just going to take the dragon. And again, having that held on that mid lane turret, making it difficult for MDK to really kind of put pressure anywhere. So MDK going to have to try and find some way to get vision on top. But if I'm Fnatic, I just hold on, I just wait. We're pushing in waves, we're perfectly fine. We're finding great opportunities at... hang on.
Oh, Zenith Blade. Oh.
But you're finding great opportunities to find these fights around Noah's ultimates, and you know that MDK are kind of going for this all-committed, all-in engage, and if Noah's not the targeter, he's able to cleanse his way out of it. He just turns around with the bullet time, and you automatically win the fight.
Yeah, it's also how do you get onto Noah through MDK, right? Yeah, it's a Nature's Grasp from the side, but Noah's just been playing back. Supa can use an arrow, but as you say, the cleanse is always there. Alvaro can try and flash Magnet Storm, but getting on that backline is going to be very tricky.
But that's why I think the way you have to play it is kind of what we're seeing now, is go for side picks, and they look for Oscarinin.
Oscar with the wallop. Nature's Grasp coming out. Redemption as well. Fresskowy already falling low. The Locket will keep him shielded for the moment. Oscar tries to get another wallop, flashes in for it, but can't quite kill off the Trist.
One too many members mean that Oscar sacrifices his flash for nothing. I think originally he was content to not use the flash, but then he saw an angle and he thought, oh, maybe if I can flash, get the Q off, that'll actually be enough damage with one more auto. But unfortunately, it wasn't quite there. It means that a single member does die once more. The gold looks very even, but you need to just keep your eyes at the bottom of your screen. Keep track of where that gold is going. Because Fresskowy in the side lane is just continuing to get stronger. But the question becomes, if MDK do continue to play through these sides, that is how they can really win out on this game. But if they keep trying to force fights, the problem is, do they really have the front to back to be able to win out?
Solar Flare gets the slow. Alvaro doesn't have a flash, and it doesn't really have a way out of this one. Zenith Blade will follow him and take him out. Greedy pathing from Alvaro, I'm going to say. He was looking for a little bit of vision around the Razor Beaks, but he didn't need to go in that direction.
But mid tower secured, bot tier 2 secured as well. That's two towers in favor of MDK, and this is exactly what they need to be doing. Don't play into what Fnatic want, instead just play the map. Keep them spread apart. Go for these isolated 1v1s, 2v1s, even 3v1s in the example of what we just saw top. Play the skirmish game, play the fact that you're fast, you're mobile, and that you can be in multiple places on the map and make things awkward for Fnatic.
There is a moment here for Fnatic to try and punish the TP from Myrwn to mid lane. I'm not 100% sure if they spotted it, because they already have Oscarinin who's pushing in on this bottom side, and he's going to... oh, never mind. I was going to say he is TP, and you could actually look to force Baron as someone has to match Oscarin's push on that bottom side. You have no one with teleport available on MDK's side, and you can then try and force a 5v5 on your own terms, but I'm not 100% certain that Fnatic actually spotted Myrwn's TP, so they're not going to look for that play.
But now that they see Fresskowy on the bot wave, they know Fresskowy doesn't have TP right now because they saw him TP up to the top wave. So there is an opportunity to put some pressure down. The problem is someone now has to match Fresskowy, because otherwise he will start taking inhibitor towers. So it is this balance of how many people do we see on the map? Do they have the ability to join the play? It's kind of a fog of war game when you get into late game League of Legends.
I like what MDK is doing though. Use the pressure on sides, clear out mid, move into enemy jungle, steal away camps. Just continue to funnel gold into your carries. Play it patient. You're chipping away at these towers. Top tier 2 is gone, bot tier 2 is gone. And you're slowly gaining more control over the map, especially around this Baron area, whereas Fnatic, with 2 dragons to their name, they'd love to get the third, put themselves on soul point, and they're looking for these fights. They're looking to bring MDK into them so they can get these 5v5s and Noah can be left to unleash with the bullet time.
One has to face check into Fog of War though, because they haven't been able to push that vision line forward. Because they're... I'm actually going to... hold on. Humanoid looking for pink.
Jun should be fine. He's got the Warmogs, and he's got Trigger C behind him, and he's got a Mikhails and a Redemption on Razork. So if Jun dies, MDK have found him very isolated. Right now he is not that. It's a battle over mid control as Fresskowy push the wave in, but Fnatic can't answer it. They only have a couple of wards actually in their inventories right now, so they can't really gain control of the vision on any point of the map.
Look, I mean, the Fnatic are just grouping up around mid. I was going to say Fresskowy, I like the fact that he went back to bot, because Fnatic are just spending a lot of time here.
Fnatic are just trying to force the 5v5, brute force the way onto this mid tower, knowing they're stronger in that position, but with no pressure on the map from MDK, they're fine to do
grasp.
so.
Jun gets hit with it. The Weaver's Wall goes down as well. It will separate Alvaro from the rest of MDK. The Magnet Storm comes in. Fresskowy has all the time in the world, but immediately they dive onto him. The Solar Flare flashes away from Noah, was knocked in with a Buster shot. Elyoya falls low. Oscarinin on the backline trying to do everything he can. Alvaro flashes over the wall again. The trigger seeds from Razork are huge. Humanoid buys a second with the stopwatch. Fresskowy though begins to open up. Jump, jump, jump from the Trist. He finds one. He's looking for 2. Jun stuns him for a second. All of MDK somehow still alive, and Fnatic are sent packing.
Secret Agent Fresskowy coming in behind Fnatic, and he looks fantastic. He has become the best player in the league at finding these creative angles, creative flanks to take down the opposition, and there, Buster shot Noah. into MDK, and they can win out the fight.
I can't believe they got away with this. Fresskowy, keep your eyes on him. The arrow connects, the engage comes through. Noah trying to stay with his team, but they just don't spot out Fresskowy. Then the bullet time comes through. He finds the angle. He knocks him into his team away from the Ivern. Razork tries his best to keep him alive, but it just doesn't happen. But even after he dies, notice that Fnatic is still strong because Humanoid is still alive. The damage is still good, but it's just not as good as what Fresskowy can do. He gets CC'd up. He gets the utility he needs to clean up the fight, and Humanoid just can't quite kill anyone.
Because he's not quite an AD carry, Vedi. This is an AD carry meta, and Fresskowy's showing exactly why. An incredible performance, and you can see frustration from Razork there. This was a game they thought they had control of, but MDK are finding really creative flanks and positioning to get their self back into it.
And all the talk in the G2 series was around Myrwn in the top lane. All the talk was around what inventive picks MDK could bring out to win this series. Well, this game at least has been the Fresskowy show, the rookie showing that it belongs in those grand finals in Munich. MDK would be one game away from claiming that spot in the title match. Now they're pushing in. You can see Humanoid in the top lane trying to get a tier 2, but the tier 3s have been broken. Supa can step forward in a second when he sees that Fnatic moved across. The arrow, look at the arrow, look at the arrow. Is it gonna hit? No. But MDK continue to push in. Channeling my inner Crepo there for a second.
Echoes of a past there.
Yeah. The inhibitor goes down in the bot lane. The Weavers will split MDK up for a second. Humanoids look for Supa, who doesn't have a flash, doesn't have a cleanse, perhaps doesn't have a hope of surviving. The Magnet Storm not used yet by Alvaro. They dive back in, and Supa's still alive. The bullet time rips through 2. Myrwn has to dash away, but the Zenith blade straight through his heart. Fnatic find 2. They lose 1 inhib off the push. Can they get anything in response?
Alvaro managed to get the crash down to interrupt the Zenith Blade of Jun to keep Supa alive, but gave his life in return, and now Fnatic going to try and open up onto the mid lane. We'll get some of the bounty gold, which will be nice, but the base cracked open. No inhibitor turret in the mid lane. Fnatic need to find something big here if they hope to try and keep MDK away.
They do showcase, though, that their team fighting is still something to be reckoned with. It was a great angle from Fresskowy, but MDK can't afford to rest on their laurels. They need to still play the map. They still need to keep Fnatic separated and find these creative flanks. Because as long as this MF lives and as long as she has this wall around her, there's going to be the ability to set up, and like we haven't talked much about Humanoid, but his disruption, his zone control that he provides on the Taliyah is something that makes it difficult for the Nidalee to dive in, for the AD carries to hit onto the front line. So MDK, while in control, while still with the Baron, have to respect this composition from Fnatic.
The minions are going to start doing the work for MDK, though. You can see the super minions starting to amass on that bottom side of the map. The second one is going to group, and that will start to take Nexus turrets. So Fnatic need to find some way to deal with these waves, and I would like to see a slow push coming through here on this top side. I think, yeah, maybe we're not going to get as much as those the saplings help out, but they're trying to sync up the top wave and this bottom wave and mid wave at the moment on MDK side, just to keep consistent pressure up. So Fnatic proactively getting into that top side to try and disrupt that setup.
MDK just having to wait a little bit as those super minions, as you say, push through the bot side. Now they have a wave in top, no wave in mid. Jun caught out a little bit, but has the blast cone. Very quick trip to safety. Wave in mid, still around 10 seconds away. Fresskowy begins to push in, but Humanoid's wave clove is actually pretty powerful when the Baron falls off. Those minions no longer as tanky as they once were.
Just nice for Fnatic, they attack that top end, so then you don't have these sync-ups, and now they can deal with each of the waves. Myrwn had moved bot to try and push in on that bottom side, but he never actually stuck around with those super creeps, so Oscarinin was able to deal with them before they hit the base as well. So at the moment, it's actually just extra gold going into Fnatic's hands more so than anything else. They'll be more than happy for more tank stats to go into Oscarinin.
Fnatic probably aren't too concerned with the game state right now. Obviously, it's not a great position to find yourself in. They're likely going to struggle to contest the next dragon, but all things considered, after that fight, which was a 5-0, you'd imagine the game is done and dusted, but it's not really how it feels right now.
You have a 4-item AD carry on either side. Humanoid is at 4 items as well now on the Taliyah.
That GA is very close for Noah though, and I really do think that'll make a big difference.
I think the hardest part for Fnatic though is trying to contest this next dragon, because Myrwn is going to be able to continuously put pressure on the bottom side. MDK get pushed mid. So actually trying to find a way to deal with super minions and bot and push out mid so you can get entrance into river is going to be really difficult as long as Myrwn just plays for push. So you always have to defend your base. So I think Fnatic have to forego this just in case Myrwn tries to just sneak into the back of the base.
You guys make great points, but there's something about my instincts that say that I'm a little worried for MDK.
I mean, I get it, buddy.
It's just one of those things where, like...
I mean, they are brute.
Have you ever played those games where, like, you feel like you're winning, but at the same time you feel like it could swing just like that?
Weaver's Wall goes down. Myrwn and Elyoya separated. The Drake, the target for Fresskowy, should be able to secure it. They do. Inside Supa and Alvaro. Elyoya puts the Nature's Grasp down. Humanoid's going to tank it. Jun's going to do the same. Mikhail's on him first. Alvaro goes in with a Magna Storm on the backline. Jun down to half HP already. Alvaro the same. Oscarinin with a Gnar into the wall. Fresskowy stunned up with a one-up. Fresskowy's down! Vedius Tristana's called it seems! You, Plato and Vin Diesel can predict the future! Fnatic win the fight somehow out of nowhere, and credit has to go to Oscar.
A single moment is sometimes all it takes, and Oscar, a player that ends up dying at the end of it, hasn't been able to find that ultimate in this game, but a single ultimate may be all that he needed.
Supa and Myrwn versus Razork, Noah, and Humanoid, and that's a battle we'll have to wait for because their Supa's pushing on the inhibitor in the bot lane. Fnatic won't go for more. The Baron up as well. They want to reset for that before the rest of MDK respawn.
Well, as we get in towards this fight, the ultimate from Humanoid does split up MDK a little bit, and it gets Elyoya in a position where he has to come in with the ultimate. Jun then turns in. Alvaro does a great job of interrupting Noah, and I thought that was going to be it, but the fact that you end up going over the wall here is Fresskowy misjudging how quickly Oscarinin would get that Gnar bar up. He ends up going down, and Supa, because he was caught out in river, wasn't able to get into a position to follow up on the rest of the fight, and they're just not as strong in the fight.
Ooh, this is going to be fast.
Double TP. It's going to be fast, as you say, Vedi. MDK already down to 4,000. It's gone. The Baron secured for the Mad Lions. Koi, can they get out of the fight? They should be able to. Myrwn's still looking for that flank position. The Weaver's Wall, who will be separated. Alvaro weaved away. Should be able to walk to safety once again.
A great play from MDK, just really taking advantage of how quickly they can kill it with their zoning tools and with the fact that Fnatic wasn't quite reset back out onto the map. They secure the objective, and crucially they denied away from Fnatic. Knowing that Fnatic want to find these fights, removing these options to be able to fight over makes it that much harder for Fnatic to turn this game around. In terms of the game state, again, I still feel like it's a situation where MDK shouldn't feel completely confident that this game is just done and dusted.
Why would you do that to them again, Vedi?
I'm just speaking from my instincts. I don't know what to tell you. It's because the reality is, I think this MDK comp is just really hard to play, right? And like Dagda and I have talked about it so much in this game, like you can't just 5v5. It's not that simple. You have to, it's mainly because of the Nidalee. Like this late into the game, so far Fresskowy has kind of been able to compensate for what I think has been a largely unimpactful Nidalee. But now you're kind of at the point where you need that Nidalee to do something, and the Gnar, relatively, is able to have a huge impact.
Having CC on a tank is pretty effective when it comes to late game fights. Myrwn is 3,500 gold ahead, is sitting at 4 items, but isn't having as much impact as Oscarinin in these battles. Alongside that, Razork now has the Dawn Core, which is only going to buff up his heals and his shields even more. We've seen Noah coming out of fights at full HP just because of how powerful that Ivern can be.
And also, it's just armor across the board here for Fnatic, so that double AD, that lack of an AP damage dealer is really going to start to hurt them now, as they're not going to be able to take out these fights as quickly as they can. They have to play off wave states. Fighting just isn't an option, and Fnatic, they are frothing at the teeth trying to see if they can get a bite out of MDK.
Weaver's Wall in here. The arrow connects on Humanoid. Solar Flare only gets the slow onto Myrwn. Zenith Blade short. Nature's Grasp used by Elyoya to try and disengage the play. The inhibitor still stands. MDK with that Baron for another minute will push through the mid lane. Noah opens up on Fresskowy. Fresskowy! Need to get out of there.
Yeah, Noah can't.
Oh, Dash! And Fresskowy is down! And how many times have we doubted Noah in the clutch? How many times have we seen him be the reason that Fnatic lose? Perhaps this time he's the reason they win.
It was a moment where he doubted himself. He began the play, he got a good trade, but I was saying you should not flash here, but he believed in himself, he saw the opportunity, and he's able to find the pick. A huge confidence play for Noah that may have opened the door to secure the game for Fnatic.
30 seconds on Fresskowy. It's going to be a 4v5. You still have the ult from Noah, you still have the setup from Fnatic and MDK. Sure, they have borrowed up creeps, but how much is that going to help them out here?
No, it's frontlining. It's Juggernaut all over again. Jugger Fortune, it seems. As Alvaro is down to half HP, the Nexus Tower is the target for Fnatic, but they haven't quite got the damage on them yet. Now they begin to open up. The dash in from Alvaro with the Magna Storm. Nature's Grass coming in as well. Oscar dashes in. He manages to get the damage on Supa, and it's all done, but the singing, I feel. Fresskowy comes in, there's no wave left for Fnatic. Bams, I spoke too quickly. Elyoya still looking for that flank, but Noah, look at the heals on him as he begins to rattle through this minion wave. The first Nexus Tower, a breath away. Myrwn dodges the seismic shove, the root of Fresskowy! The root of Fresskowy buries him in the dirt, and Fnatic take the Nexus Towers. Alongside it, the Nexus, it seems, and in a comeback win, Fnatic are 1 win away from Grand Finals.
That seed of skepticism was always there. A single fight was all Fnatic needed to turn the game around. I wasn't expecting it to come off the back of Oscar, but he finds that Mega Gnar that changes the whole momentum. A great game, a 40-minute banger, but to take a break, make sure you don't go anywhere because we'll be right back after this.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Can't believe we lost to NA.
We'll be fine.
Yeah, we always are.
Yeah.
Psst, Pedro, do you and Law want to go on a legendary adventure with Marriott Bonvoy? Just go ahead and press that button. Over 30 hotel brands, 10,000 global destinations, over 8,000 hotels worldwide. Where can we take you?
Oh, it's Berlin.
Let's go.
Marriott Bonvoy. Unlock exclusive member rates and legendary benefits across over 30 hotel brands worldwide. Sign up today for free and claim your Masterwork chest and key.
Uh.